The moment the powerful man broke down, the room froze. A man who had ruled boardrooms, crushed competitors, and signed billion-dollar deals with a calm smile was now on the floor, his voice shaking, his body trembling, his eyes filled with pure terror. His legs lay useless beneath him, and every breath came out like a plea. In that instant, power meant nothing, money meant nothing, and pride meant nothing. All that remained was fear, raw and human. And no one expected that the person who would change everything was a tired, dirt-stained single father standing quietly in the corner, carrying a past heavier than any briefcase in the room. If you believe that kindness can appear in the darkest moments, that second chances can come from the most unexpected people, then please take a moment right now to like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps keep stories like this alive. The CEO had not always been this broken man. For decades, he had been known as untouchable, a self-made titan who rose from nothing and built an empire of steel, glass, and ambition. His name was spoken with respect and fear, and employees straightened their backs when he walked by. He believed weakness was a disease and compassion a distraction. Success, to him, was earned through pressure, sacrifice, and relentless force. People were tools, numbers, replaceable parts in a massive machine he controlled. That belief shaped every decision he made, including one that would ripple through countless lives without him ever noticing. Years earlier, a single father had stood outside one of the CEO's construction sites, holding a termination letter with shaking hands. The man had lost his wife in an accident that left him raising a young child alone. He worked with his hands, taking any job he could to keep food on the table, often working through pain and exhaustion. One injury on the job, a twisted spine caused by unsafe conditions, changed his life forever. Instead of support, he received silence. Instead of help, he received dismissal. The company moved on. The CEO never learned his name. That injury slowly stole the single dad's strength. Medical bills piled up, nights grew longer, and pain became a constant companion. Some days, he could barely stand. Other days, he pushed through because his child needed him. He learned to live with less, to swallow pride, and to endure quietly. Life taught him humility, patience, and empathy in ways success never had. And while the world seemed cruel, he refused to let it make him cruel in return. Years passed, and fate began weaving its threads. The CEO's world, once perfectly controlled, began to crack. Stress, untreated health issues, and arrogance toward his own limits led to a sudden medical collapse. A spinal condition, ignored for too long, left him partially paralyzed overnight. The man who once dominated rooms now needed assistance to sit up. Whispers followed him instead of praise. Board members questioned his leadership. Rivals waited like vultures. His empire remained, but his body betrayed him. One evening, during a private corporate retreat meant to reassure investors, chaos erupted. A heated confrontation, fueled by greed and fear, spiraled out of control. The CEO found himself cornered, powerless in a way he had never known. His legs could not respond. His authority meant nothing. Fear stripped him bare. In that moment, he was not a CEO. He was simply a man who could not walk and did not know if he would survive the night. That was when the single dad entered the scene, unnoticed at first. He was there as part of a maintenance crew, hired quietly to fix what others ignored. His body still carried pain, his movements slow but steady. His eyes observant. He recognized fear immediately, not because he had power, but because he had lived with it. He had felt it every night wondering how to protect his child, every morning waking up unsure if his body would cooperate. As others hesitated, calculating risk and reward, the single dad moved forward. He did not see an enemy. He did not see revenge standing helpless before him. He saw a human being at the lowest point of his life. Memories of his own darkest moments flooded back, but instead of bitterness, they brought clarity. He understood what it meant to be ignored, dismissed, and broken. The tension in the room was thick, heavy with unspoken guilt and fear. The CEO's eyes met the single dad's eyes, searching for something, anything. In that silence, something shifted. The single dad's presence was calm, grounded, and unwavering. He used his own aching body to shield, to help, to stabilize the situation. Every movement cost him pain, but he did not stop. He acted not out of obligation, but out of principle. As help finally arrived and the immediate danger passed, the CEO was left staring at the ceiling, breathing slowly, his heart pounding with more than fear. Shame crept in, followed by recognition. The man who helped him looked familiar, not in face, but in story. A memory surfaced, buried under years of indifference. A terminated worker. An injury report dismissed. A life altered by a single signature. Recovery was slow. Hospitals are humbling places, stripping titles and exposing fragility. The CEO had time to think, something he had rarely allowed himself. He thought about power and how easily it vanished. He thought about strength and how it could exist quietly in someone the world overlooked. He asked questions he had never asked before. He requested to see the man who had helped him. When the single dad returned, the room felt different. There was no applause, no cameras, no spectacle. Just two men shaped by pain in opposite ways. The CEO listened, truly listened, as the single dad spoke about struggle, responsibility, and choosing kindness even when life felt unfair. No accusations were needed. The truth was heavy enough. Change did not come overnight, but it came deliberately. Policies shifted. Old cases were reviewed. Workers once ignored received support. Safety became more than a checklist. The company culture began to transform, not from fear, but from understanding. The CEO funded medical programs, rehabilitation initiatives, and education for families affected by workplace injuries. For the first time, his legacy was no longer just buildings and profits, but people. The single dad's life changed too, not through sudden wealth, but through dignity. His medical care was finally addressed properly. His child saw a parent respected, not pitied. Opportunities came, but more importantly, healing began. The pain never fully disappeared, but it no longer defined him. He had proven to himself that compassion was not weakness, and that even those hurt by the system could rise above it. As months passed, the CEO learned to live differently. He accepted limitations, both physical and moral. He learned that leadership meant accountability, and that real strength was the courage to change. The image of the single dad standing firm despite his own suffering stayed with him, a constant reminder of what truly mattered. Near the end of this story, as the company held a quiet internal gathering to honor resilience, the CEO sat in his wheelchair, watching employees laugh, collaborate, and feel safe. He knew none of this would have happened if one man had chosen anger instead of mercy. The single dad stood at the back, not seeking recognition, just proud to see a world slightly better than before. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that humanity still exists even in the hardest places, please take a moment to like the video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel. Your engagement helps these messages reach more hearts. Before the ending, we have a special request for you. Please comment below and tell us what this story made you feel, or share a moment when kindness changed your life. Your words might inspire someone who is silently struggling. In the end, this was never a story about a CEO losing power or a single dad gaining justice. It was a story about perspective. About how life can break anyone, regardless of status, and how healing often comes from those we least expect. It reminds us that compassion can rewrite destinies, and that sometimes, the strongest voice in the room belongs to the one who has suffered quietly and still chose to care.